Hello Stampers! I've got a winter card for you. This one's quite chilly looking. We've got our winter fox here from the Nature's Beauty stamp set. This stamp set is from Stampin' Up. It's been one of my favorites. I've used it so much. Here is the fox out of the set, and I've used the trees. And also these twigs down here, they've been a favorite of mine, especially for winter cards, because when you stamp them and you heat emboss them, they turn out white, and it's just a great thing to put in front of your critters. So I'm going to go step by step through this card, and I think we're going to start with our main panel here. Now our main panel is a 2.5 by 5 inch basic white panel, and all the dimensions for the cards are down below this video. All you have to do is click show more under the description, and you're going to see all the dimensions there along with all the links to all the products. I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator, and you can shop with me 24/7. And if you order from me, every month I have a new set of 10 exclusive tutorials for my customers. So keep that in mind when you place your Stampin' Up order. I would love to have you as a customer. So with that being said, we got our panel here that we're going to get started on. And I think what we need to do first is stamp our little twigs along the bottom, and we're going to heat emboss these. So I'm going to use Versamark, and I'm using Versamark, and I'm going to use clear embossing powder, and that way it'll resist the ink that we put over it. So it's just a really fun technique to do. I've just always loved heat embossing. It's magical. So I'm going to, I know you're not going to be able to see this, but I'm stamping these all along the bottom, and I'm even overlapping some. I want this good and pretty thick brush down here. I'm a little higher on both sides and a little shorter in the middle. You can take a look at the finished project for placement too for this. Okay, so I have those stamped, and I think I'm going to go ahead and heat emboss these. Now I have a tub of clear embossing powder. I keep my embossing powder in a tub. It's so much easier to use. So since those were stamped in Versamark, your embossing powder sticks to it. This is clear, so these images will turn out white since our cardstock's white. And I will be right back after I heat this up with my heat tool. I know you probably can't see those, but they're all heat embossed. And I only heat them until they turn shiny. Make sure that you don't heat them so much that they sink into the paper, because that won't work with your emboss resist. So only until they turn shiny. And now we're going to stamp a couple of these trees from the stamp set at the top of the panel, and then we're going to use Versamark for this also. This is a set of 2 tree stamp. And these are going to go at the very top of the panel. So that was our stamp. It has 2 trees, and then there's a stamp here that has 1 tree. And we're going to put this on the other side. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing with those. We're going to heat emboss them with clear embossing powder. And then we'll be all done with our embossing. Okay. So now I have my trees all embossed at the top. So now we are ready to start putting our images in. I'm going to put our fox in, I think, next. And we're going to stamp this in Early Espresso. Now make sure you're not using like Stays On or one of those other inks, because they're staining to your embossed images. So you want to make sure that you're using a water-based ink to stamp over these embossed images. So I'm going to stamp this so that he's kind of looking over the embossed images. And after you stamp it, you're going to want to wipe off your embossed images down here at the bottom. Okay? And that just has him partially peeking through, that you can only see part of him there at the bottom like it naturally would happen. So I'm just wiping off the embossed images there. Okay, so that was with Early Espresso. And now we're going to take some Smoky Slate and a blending brush. And I'm going to blend that over these embossed images here. And they're going to come to life. You're going to see that here. Isn't that fun? I just love how they just pop out. So now we're going to color our fox a bit. There's not much coloring that you have to do to him. So we're going to use a dark cinnamon cider Stampin' Blend marker. And I'm going to use a brush end. And you want to go the back of his ears. Okay, and just around his eyes, because foxes have that, you know, white nose and cheeks there. So then we're going to come under his head. His chest is going to be white, so we're going to leave that white. And you can add some down through some of your twigs there. Okay, and then I'm going to take a paper towel and just kind of wipe that off a little bit. There we go. And there's our fox all colored in, and he's just peeking through there. So there's not much coloring that you have to do to him. And now we're going to need some sky color. And I have Pacific Point out here and a blue blending brush. And we're going to blend over these trees just down to that snow line that the stamp has on it. You're going to see a line underneath the trees there. And we're only going to go down to that. You want a little darker at top and kind of feathered out at the bottom. There we go. And there's our sky. And I want it kind of very light where it hits the white. Okay, now we just need some snow drifts, which are so easy to do. We're just going to take a 3x3 post-it note, and I'm going to kind of make a little hilly rip there. And I'm going to hold this on here. Let's see, let's come down about a ½ an inch below the tree bases. There we go. And I'm going to take Smoky Slate, and I'm just going to lightly blend at the post-it note edge to get a little color right at that post-it note edge on the panel. Okay, and then when you remove that, you're going to see it looks like a snowdrift. I'm going to move this. Let's tilt this so it doesn't look so much like it's a repeat pattern. And we're going to do that same thing again, just blend at the post-it note edge. Snowdrifts are so easy to create. And there's that one. Okay, so now he looks like he's sitting in front of multiple layers of hills here, which is fun. Okay, and I think I'm just going to take my paper towel kind of wipe those trees off just to bring them back to life there. They got a little blue on them. Wipe over my embossed images just to brighten them up a bit. And there is your panel all done. This is a pretty quick one when you think about it. Okay, so I'm going to adhere this panel to a Smoky Slate panel. And this Smoky Slate panel is 2 5/8 by 5 1/8. I'm just going to attach it using my multi glue here. That's my favorite adhesive, but you use whatever you like best. I like glue because then I have a chance to move things around after I stick them together, because I'm notorious for getting things crooked. I don't know about you, but it's just tough for me to do that. Okay, setting that panel aside, and then I'm going to bring out the sprig punch. This has been one of my favorite punches since it's come out, because it's so easy to make these little sprigs, and I punched these out of basic white. I punched 4 of them, so we're going to need that for the card front. So that was an easy little embellishment there. And then for our front panel, for our card front, we're going to take a 4 by 5.25 basic white panel, and then a 3 3/4 square Smoky Slate panel, and then a 3 1/2 inch square panel of basic white. And we're going to take those and we're going to emboss them. We're going to stick them all together just like we want them, and then we're going to put them in the Parisian Flourish embossing folder. And we have them facing up to the logo, the Stampin' Up logo. Okay, and then you're just going to run it through your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. I'll be right back. So after you run it through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, you get this great panel, and everything's kind of smushed together. So it's one of my favorite techniques to do. It just looks like that gray is just embedded in that panel. Okay, got that done. Now I have a Smoky Slate 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 inch card base, and it's folded in half to make a quarter card. And then inside I have a 4 by 5.25 basic white panel. So we're going to put a piece of ribbon across this panel here. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this inky paper. I usually remember to do that, but sometimes I forget, and the next thing you know, I've got some weird color on my white cardstock. Okay, so I'm going to put that right in the middle of the cardstock, flip it over, and I'm going to put some mini glue dots here to tack these ends down to the back of the panel. I'm going to use 2 dots for each side. This is such a wide ribbon. It's beautiful. A Smoky Slate. And textured ribbon is what it's called in Smoky Slate color. I feel a little scatterbrained still after recovering from COVID. I know you end up with some brain fog, and I've got it, I'm afraid. So if I seem a little scatterbrained, it's probably due to that. At least that's what I'm blaming it on. So, okay, got my ribbon on here, and then we're going to adhere this to our card front. Again, I'm just using my multi-purpose glue. You use whatever you like best. Just centered on that card front. I like to flip it over and really get it adhered there. Okay, now I'm going to add this to the card front, and I'm going to put it on with Stampin' Dimensionals. Pop it up some. What did we do before Stampin' Dimensionals? I love them. Oh, got a stubborn one. There we go. Okay, let's add this in here. See if I can get it centered. There we go. That pretty card front? Okay, and our last thing, I'm going to take mini glue dots here, and I've got our sprigs, and I'm just putting a glue dot at the very base of them, and I'm tilting them towards the main panel here, but I'm putting it on the white embossed panel. I'm going to put 2 on each side. I like them to be loose down here. Seems a bit more natural to have them. You just have to be careful putting it in your envelope when you go to ship it. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on this other side. They make like cute little bushes, I think. Makes me happy. There we go. And that just finished off the card really cute. So there's our project for today. I hope you enjoyed it and you plan on giving it a try. Thanks for joining me. Bye.